Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Access All Areas CMI Benefits webinar. My name is Natasha and I'm an events coordinator at the CMI. I'll shortly be handing over to Ian, who is running the session today. If you have any questions during the webinar, you can ask them using the live chat box on the right of your screen. We shall answer as many as we can at the Q&A at the end of the session. Today's session is being recorded and it will be shared with you later on today. Now over to Ian, Head of Member Engagement at CMI.
Thank you very much, Natasha, for the introduction, and good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our webinar today, which is exploring all of the benefits that CMI membership has to offer. Now, you may be an existing member of CMI wanting to find out a little bit more about the fantastic resources that you have access to, or you may not be a member yet and you're looking to find out a little bit more around what you can get access to that's currently behind the login screens that you can't access unless you are a member. So in today's session, we're going to explore a range of benefits that are available, which include our mentoring platform. Also, we're going to be looking at our management resource portal. If my slide wants to advance, there we go, fantastic. We're going to be looking at our resource portal, which is known as ManagementDirect, for those of you who are familiar with CMI resources. We're also going to be looking at what career development resources are available to members. And finally, we'll be having a look at the various methods that we use in order to keep our members up to date with everything that is happening within the management world. Now, before we start to have a look at our mentoring platform, I thought it would be really useful just to put a little bit of context around CMI membership and the various member grades or levels that are available. So if you are not a member yet, you will be able to see where you fit into our member community. And if you are an existing member, you'll be able to see the progression routes that are available to you. So one of the main reasons people join professional bodies is to gain a level of professional recognition for the work that you do, in our case, around management. And as you can see on screen now, we have a variety of options available, and they're all based around the level of experience and or education qualifications that you hold. So we have options right on the left-hand side, which we call affiliate, for somebody who is just starting out as a manager, or you don't even have to be a manager. You might just be interested in management and want to know more about it and access the CMI resources. Going along the line all the way to the far right-hand side, is our chartered member grades. So this is where people go through a professional assessment process and gain that high level of recognition, the highest level of recognition that's available for professionals within management. So you look in other sectors, you have things like chartered accountants, chartered surveyors. It's exactly the same in management. And we have two categories available there. Chartered member, which is focused on operational excellence, and we have chartered fellow, which is around strategic excellence, which is the differentiation between the two. So if you're not a member, hopefully you can see where you slot in on this grid. And if you are a member, you can see where you are now and obviously where the next step for you is, should you wish to take that. So that's a little bit of context for you in terms of what membership is and the professional recognition that it gives. We're now going to start to have a look at the actual benefits that members receive themselves. And the first one that we're going to have a look at is our mentoring offer. And CMI members, we surveyed earlier in the year, around January, February time, and this came out as one of the main reasons that people want to join CMI, to get access to mentoring services. And once you are in membership, you can access our mentoring platform, and when you go in there, you can choose whether you want to be a mentor, whether you want to be a mentee, or both. You can do both. And we're going to look at it today from the mentee's perspective, so somebody who's looking to find a mentor. So when you go into the system, there's some really useful resources. When you first go in, there's a short video and some resources that tell you a little bit around what mentoring actually is, so you can find out that if it's right for you and if you want to take part. Once you've decided you want to get involved, the first thing that you will need to do is to create your online profile that you can share with other people on the system, so that we can find an ideal match for you. And when you go on this screen, some of the information will be populated for you already based on what we know about you. And you can also put some more information in there. So for example, we've got details. You can populate what sector you work in, what industry you work in. You can put your job function, your level of management, how many people you manage. And at the bottom on the left-hand side, you can actually link up to your LinkedIn profile if you have one, so people can see more information about you. And a top tip for anybody who is using the mentoring platform, you also have the ability to add a profile picture. And what we find is that people that have uploaded profile pictures get much higher levels of engagement than those that don't. So if you are going to use the platform, then the top tip is make sure you upload a picture. It just makes it that little bit more personable. Exactly the same as if you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or any of the social media platforms, those people that have pictures experience higher levels of engagement. So once you've done the basic details about yourself, on the right-hand side, you can now start to say what you actually want to get out of a mentoring relationship. And there's a drop-down list of around about 21 different topics that you can pick from. Some examples that sit within there are you may wish to receive some mentoring on how you can better achieve results within your working life. You may want to look at how you can expand and build your professional network. You may be wanting to completely change career, but you've got no idea where to start. And there's mentors within our system that specialize in that area. Popular topics around dealing with conflict. So you may have a particularly difficult situation that you need to deal with in your working life, and you'd like some coaching on that. You may also have a particularly challenging boss or line manager, and you want some guidance on how to manage upwards. That's a skill set that's within there as well. And other areas around strategic development, strategic management. As I said, there's around 21 different topics in there, and you can pick as few or as many of those as you want to get guidance from one of our mentors. So once you've started to build your profile and you've put in all the information, the next stage that it takes you to is actually viewing your matches. So when you've populated all that information, there's some wizardry that goes on behind the scenes, and you get taken to a screen which looks something similar to the one you're looking at now. And it produces a list of all people that match the search criteria you've put in. And you can amend this search criteria using the option bar at the top to filter your results down further. One of the interesting ones, particularly in the situation we're in now with all the COVID restrictions around social gatherings, is the region tab. So historically, people like to have mentors that are like local to their area so that they can meet up over coffee. But now what we're finding is people aren't necessarily worried so much around where someone's located. And my advice would be to leave that blank, because you can gain access to the whole global network of CMI members. So you can link up with people from other countries, for example, and gain their experiences. So it's entirely up to you to set those preferences. And once you've found somebody that you like the look of and like the sound of, you can click on their profile to find out some more information about them. So I've picked on a lovely lady called Jackie here, who I picked off our platform. Jackie, if you're on the session today, hello. And once you've read a little bit more around Jackie's profile, on the right-hand side, you can actually send her a request to actually say, I would like to be a mentor, your mentee, and I'd like to start a mentoring relationship with you. That will automatically notify Jackie, and she will either accept or decline your request once she's had a look at your profile to see if she believes she can help you. If you're not quite ready to take that jump and you'd just like to ask Jackie a question, there is an Ask a Question feature on the top right, as you can see, where you can submit a question through to Jackie and she'll respond back to you. So you can almost find out a little bit more about each other before you actually take that jump into a mentoring relationship. And once you've found a mentor that is suitable and you've both agreed to participate, you then move into the mentoring life cycle. And within the system, there are 3 stages to a mentoring relationship. And the first part is all around that initial conversation that you will have. And this is very much driven by the mentee. And there's lots of resources on the system to help you prepare for initiating that first port of call with your mentor. The second stage, once you've done that, is around relating to your mentor and then building momentum up with the relationship. So working out what works for both of you, whether you have a weekly catch-up, a monthly catch-up, it will be very different for different audiences, depending on what they want to get out of the program. And then the final stage in the mentoring relationship is ending the conversation or ending the relationship. When you've come to the end of your mentoring journey, how you sign off from that and take away what you've learned and move on to the next phase of your personal and professional development. And then finally, within the mentoring system itself, there's all sorts of helpful resources. So it can be quite daunting if you've not had a mentor before in terms of where you get started. So within the platform, there are some things that will help you to define your objectives in terms of what you want to get out of it. And some examples of that, which you can see on screen now. There's some analysis tools around SWOT analysis you can carry out on yourself, for those of you familiar with the G-STAR model, and some guidance on setting SMART goals. And I very much strongly advise you, before you initiate a a mentoring relationship is to define what you want to get out of it. Relationships are much more productive if you have a set of defined objectives to work through. There's also guidance on there for people around being an effective mentee and mentor if you need it, and then around the 3 different stages of the mentoring life cycle, which I've explained to you already, around starting the conversation, maintaining that relationship, and then bringing it to a close at the end. So that's a little bit of an overview for you of the mentoring platform itself. We're going to move on now to have a look at our online resource portal, which for those of you who are familiar with CMI, it's called ManagementDirect. And what I'm going to show you now over the next few slides is what it looks like when you get into it, and what the various features are and how you can maximize the benefits that sit within there. One of the things that I always experience from working in membership bodies is that you have access to all of these wonderful benefits, but it's sometimes difficult to know where to start. So hopefully this session will give you a little bit of a guidance in terms of finding what you actually need within the system. So when you log into the system, you'll see a screen that looks something like this. And this screen is what we call our information library, which you can see highlighted at the top there. And from the information library, you can do a number of things. So you can access our content from here. And there's 3 different ways in which you can do this. You can browse by content type. So we have bundled all of the content on the ManagementDirect platform into a number of topic areas. So for example, we have managing yourself, managing your team, strategic management, resource management, and stakeholder relationships. So 4 or 5 really top level topics which you can drill down into the detail of. You may choose to want to browse by content type. So again, depending on your learning style, you may prefer videos, you may prefer reading short insight articles, you may like looking at theoretical models, you may like longer reads like ebooks, or my personal favorite, you might like practical checklists, which you can work through and tick things off as you complete them. So if you go into that option, you'll see all the different types of content that are on offer, and you can browse by some of those and more that I've mentioned to you just now. And then the third thing you can do with the information library is do a custom search over on the right-hand side here. So this is really useful if you want an immediate answer or response to something. So for example, you might be going in to have a difficult conversation with a colleague, and you're feeling a little bit nervous, you just like a little bit of reassurance that you've planned it and doing it right. So if you tapped in difficult conversations in there, all of the resources that we have that can help with that will appear. And again, there'll be videos, there'll be checklists and all sorts in there, which you can have a look at to give you that reassurance and self-confidence before going into that situation. So that's how you navigate around the information library section within there. Now, moving along the top menu bar, the next stage within here is what we call our learning resources. And again, within the learning resources, there are a number of sections which you have access to. And I'm only going to go into 2 of them in brief detail here today. The first one is the study support section. Now, this is really helpful in 2 ways. If you are currently studying a CMI qualification or program, you'll find some resources in there that relate to your program directly to help you achieve the best result you can during your coursework, which is fantastic. There's also resources in there for people that aren't on CMI programs that are just practicing managers in the normal workplace. And they help you to identify what your preferred learning style is. Now, you may have an idea of what that is. You may prefer visual, you may prefer written, or a mixture of the 2. But by completing the exercises within there, it will give you a clear steer on which way you go, and then you'll be able to access the resources within the system that cater towards your specific learning style. And if you haven't done that before, it's quite an interesting assessment to carry out. And I know when I did it, I learned that I always thought I liked video content and visual things, but actually I do better from a blended mix when I carried out the assessment. So it's really valuable to learn something about yourself. And then the second area within the learning resources that I want to highlight is this section called Learning Journeys. Now, the easiest way for me to describe a learning journey is it's basically like a content playlist. So if you have a think, if you're on Apple Music or Spotify or something like that, you like a particular type of music, you do a search and then you can add things to your custom playlist that you like. And it's exactly the same within the system here. What we've done for you within CMI, we have curated custom playlists or learning journeys around various topic types. And there's just 3 examples on screen here for you now. One's around managing performance, one's around project management, one's around management change. And it gives you an indication of how long each program takes to complete. So you can see there, one's 105 minutes, one's 90 minutes, etc. as you go through them. And when you go into one of the learning journeys or playlists, you see something that looks similar to this. So it gives you a breakdown of the content that's included and how long each section will take to complete. And this is really handy because it doesn't mean you've got to sit for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours at your machine doing this work. You can dip in and out of it as you've got time to do it. So it's very flexible and bite-sized. And within this particular program, there is videos that you can watch. So this one's a 4-minute video clip. There are theoretical models that you look at and learn about. And my favorite, as I said, checklists where you can go down the detail of each one, take that back to your workplace and learn to apply it in your working environment. So learning journeys are really, really useful. And as I said, we've curated some for you to help you learn around certain popular topic areas. And then the final element within the resource portal ManagementDirect we have is our My Learning section. And within here, there are 3 areas of interest. The first really does what it says on the tin, favourites and recently viewed. So as you're working your way through various content on the system, if you like what you see, you can press the favourite icon next to a specific resource, and it will pop it in this list for you. So if, like me, you find something once and then you can never find it again, whether it's an email or a document or whatever it is, it keeps it all in one place for you so you can get back to it really easily. Also, it looks after your recently viewed content. So if you're looking at something today, you get distracted and you want to pick it up again tomorrow, rather than thinking, oh, what was that called? You can just go in here and pick up where you left off from the favourites and recently viewed. The second area within the My Learning section is My Learning Journeys. And this keeps a track of any of the pre-CMI curated ones that you've done, so you can monitor your progress. But it also allows you to create your own learning journeys from content that you've seen, your own custom playlists. And this is really useful, particularly if you manage a team of people who are CMI members. So when you do your one-to-ones, your performance reviews with your team, and you identify training needs, you can actually work with each individual to put together a custom training playlist and that will help them achieve whatever area it might be, whether it's communication, influence skills, whatever topic area they want to improve on. You can help them with that using the resources that the membership gives you, which is a really, really nice addition to the system. And then the final area within the resource portal is the continuing professional development, or CPD module within there. And as a professional body, we always encourage our members to do ongoing development learning. And within here, there's some really neat tools. So any piece of content you access within the resource portal, it automatically logs it on a CPD record. So you don't actually have to do anything. It's all there for you. So if you need to evidence what CPD you've done to your line manager, to your organization, you can simply download it from the system and email it over, or print it out and hand it over to them if you prefer paper-based. And within there as well, one of the key things it allows you to do is to reflect on your learning, which is something that a lot of CPD systems don't do. And it's really important from my perspective, if you do a piece of learning, it's thinking, what did you get out of it and why did you do it and why did you invest that time to do it? So within the system, there's 4 ways you can reflect. So there's 4 kind of key questions areas. The first one is around what have you learned that can be applied immediately? So as soon as you've completed a piece of learning via the system, what are you going to do to take that away and apply it to your workplace? The next piece of reflection is around what do you need to do to take the learning forward to the next level. So if it's something you've got a particular interest in, the system's highlighted there may be additional resources or further reading to do, putting a plan in place to actually follow that up. And you can set reminders and objectives within the system as well to give you a bit of a nudge to say, well, you said you were going to do this by the end of the month and you haven't. So it keeps that element of CPD fresh in your mind all the time. And then the last 2 areas of reflection are around how are you going to measure success around applying the learning. So as I said, doing learning is great, but unless you can measure the success and the impact that learning has had, there's not much point in doing it. So being able to reflect on and identify those success measures, again, for me, it works really, really well. And the final area is what are the key issues that have been highlighted by this resource. So thinking again back to your business, what are the challenges that you face that this piece of learning could help solve, for example. And again, you get that sense of achievement when you've done a piece of learning, you've been able to take it back and improve a system process within your own organisation. It works really, really well. So that's the online resource portal called ManagementDirect. Loads of fantastic resources in there. If you haven't had a nosy around already and you are a member, then I strongly advise that you do. And if you're not a member, it's a great thing to join us to get access to. So that's the resource portal. Moving on to our third area now, which we're going to showcase, is around our career development resources. And within our Careers Development Centre, there are a whole range of fantastic resources for you to get access to. And I've just listed a few of them on the screen now. Now, I would absolutely love to talk you through all of these, but we are limited for time. So I'm going to highlight very briefly just 3 areas within the system that I find particularly useful, engaging, and feedback from our members and usage of the system are the most popular. And the first one that I'm going to highlight, which is great fun actually, is our CV360 feedback tool. And the idea behind this is that you get instant feedback on your CV, so you can see if it's any good to help you get a new job or a promotion. And additionally, it also helps to get you past these automated screening systems that some larger companies now use. So you may not be aware, but some larger companies now, when you send a CV in, it won't actually be seen by a human until stage 2 or stage 3 of the shortlisting process. They'll use some kind of artificial intelligence to screen things out based on certain criteria. And the technology that sits behind this platform helps you to overcome that so that you make the shortlist. And it's really simple to use. All you do is you upload your CV to the system. It's a simple drag and drop. And it does a scoring system within a couple of minutes. It churns out a result. And I uploaded my CV earlier this year, and I scored 63%, which I felt a little bit hurt about because I was quite proud of my CV. But the feedback that it gave me was excellent in order to help improve it. And as you can see here, it does 58 checks on the CV. I passed 37 of them, and I failed 21 of them. And then it gives me some information around how I can improve it. And it looks at 6 key areas. The first one it looks at is the actual file itself. So it looks at the type of the file, the name. So have you named it something useful, or is it complete gobbledygook? The size of the file. And interestingly, one of the areas that I fell down on was the age of the file. So interestingly, if you haven't updated your CV and saved a file within the last 2 months, that could mean that you're automatically cut out of a shortlist. So nice top tip for you: whenever you're submitting a CV in for a job, make sure you've saved it, it's up to date, and it's a recent version, and you'll overcome that little barrier. The next area that the system looks at is around the presentation of your CV. So it looks at the number of pages you've got, the word count, the font type and size, is it consistent? Looks at the font color, is it readable? Looks at if you've got any big white space gaps, and it looks at the formatting to make sure that it's all nicely aligned and it's in the right position. It gives you hints and tips if things aren't quite where they need to be. The third thing that it looks at is around the structure. So have you got clearly defined elements to your CV? Is it laid out nicely? Have you got the correct level of detail, and have you avoided any repetition within your CV? The fourth area is around content. So it looks at your contact details, your education, your work experience, your personal profile, and have you got your referees in there? So all the things you'd expect to find in a CV, it checks to see if they're in there. The next area is around skills. So have you demonstrated you've got a range of skills that are relevant to a specific job? Have you referenced you've got employability skills as well? So what are your interpersonal skills like? And the final area, which you'd probably expect, is language. So it looks at your spelling, it looks at your grammar, sentence structure, and interestingly, how long it actually takes to read your CV, which is a really interesting point. Once you've been through the feedback, you can upload your CV again, and it will rescore it, and you can view your score history. So if you are looking for a new job at the moment, or you're looking for a promotion, or if you want to have a bit of fun, upload your CV and get some really good feedback from it. It's a great tool. I highly recommend it. And just to touch on 2 other areas within the career development resources, there's a career wellbeing program, which looks at how happy and healthy you are in the workplace. And there's a number of areas which you can see on the screen now, which you can go through. If you go into one of these, you've got various resources that are available to you where you can take a short assessment, or you can read a resource. And it's really a reflective piece to help you learn more about yourself and your well-being in the workplace. It's really short, really simple, not much to it, but it's a really good resource to help you identify how you can improve. then the final area within the careers centre is around career assessments. And there's lots of these, and I'll just put a bit of a showcase of 8 on the screen there. And I did one yesterday, so I'll show you how it works. And basically, they're sort of mini psychometric assessments. So you can see within here, when you click on one, it asks you, gives you some statements, and you say whether it's like you or not like you. You've probably seen a lot of these types of things before. And then at the end, it churns out a result for you. So this is my result yesterday on personal resilience. Turns out I'm quite resilient. And one of the areas that it's highlighted, obviously, it's a little bit lower than the rest, is my support network. So that's an area that I need to develop. And what you can't see on this screen is the information that it gives you in terms of tips of how to improve that. So it signposts you to various resources, gives you hints and tips on how to become better in each of the areas. And you can take these as many times as you like. They really are useful tools. So please do have a look at them. So that's the careers assessment. So everything I've shown you up until now has been proactive engagement. So you actually need to go in and do something. What I'm going to finish off on just before we go to questions and finishing is around the reactive stuff. So we will send you lots of information and you can tap into it as and when you like. So as a member of CMI, you get access to various things from us in terms of how we do this. And the first one is what you're on today, webinars. So we have a webinar schedule, which is shared every Friday. A newsletter goes out to our members to say what's coming up the following week. You can also access that via our website. Some are available to members only, and some are available to absolutely everybody. So you can keep up to date with what's going on there. Our second feature is our Better Managers newsletter. So every Tuesday, we send a newsletter out to all of our members, which keeps them up to date with all the latest happenings within the management world. And on a Friday, our CEO, Anne Franca, speaks with sector leaders around topical issues. And they're really great to get involved with. You can join in the debate on the social media chats. And they're very insightful. So good things to have a look at. And then the other areas that we look at, we have a podcasts feature. If you like podcasts, you can download them and listen to them. We also have a hub of knowledge, which you can gain access to. So this is an example off the website at the moment around our mental health and wellbeing advice. So you can tap into those resources, find out what other organisations are doing. And the final area in terms of our management updates is our CMI Members magazine, which is a quarterly edition, which focuses more on the thought leadership parts and looking to the future and looking at the experiences that our members are having, so that you can really relate to those and take those back to your workplace and learn more about what's going on within the management world, whether you're just starting out in your career or whether you're a seasoned executive or absolutely anywhere in the middle. So that is a showcase for you, a whistle-stop tour of all of the benefits that CMI membership has to offer. There are a lot more, but unfortunately I haven't got time to cover them today. Just to finish off on today, I'm going to invite Natasha to join us. Who's been busy collating all of the questions that you've been asking both before the session and during, and I'll do my best to answer as many as we can in the time we have left.
Thank you, Ian. So our first question is, are you looking for people to be mentors?
Very simple answer to that one, yes. We're always looking for people to be mentors and mentees. If you are a CMI member, you can sign up to the platform and be a mentor. Naturally, we have more mentees than mentors, so there is always a demand for people who are wanting to share their experience.
And who can be a mentor? Are there any restrictions?
No, there aren't. So the restriction is you have to be a CMI member in order to get access to our platform. The way that it works is that mentoring is not always senior people mentoring junior people. There's almost like reverse mentoring going on, where some senior people like to learn from people that are just starting out. So there's no restriction on, you've got to do a certain qualification or a certain course. We provide resources, as we've seen through the platform, to help you be an effective mentee or mentor. So it is literally open to anybody within the CMI member community.
That's great. And someone's asked, they've forgotten their login details. How can they get access to all of these resources?
We hear that quite a lot. There's so many passwords to remember these days, aren't there, that we all have. Very simple. You can either reset your login details online. There's a forgotten password link that you can click on. Or if you can't find that, you can always contact the team at head office. All the contact details on the website. There'll be some in the follow-up email after today's session, and we'll get those reset so you can get straight back into all of the action that's going on.
Thank you. So we have had a few that's come through the live chat. Some of them are quite long, so we have asked you to contact our membership team if your question we felt was too long to answer at the end of today's session. One of the ones that we have been asked, though, which I think you'll be able to help with, Ian, is regarding membership, can you add CMI in your signature as a student member on a CMI accredited qualification?
Yes, you can. There's no reason why you can't. Student members don't have any professional designations as such until they've finished their program. So depending on what program you're studying, at the end of it, you may get a chartered manager status, or you may get a member status where you can use the letters MCMI or chartered manager MCMI, or whatever those may be. You can use those to reference your professional status. But yeah, as a student, there's no reason why you can't put student member CMI at the bottom. Absolutely fine.
That's great. So like I said, a lot of the questions were more complicated, so please do get in touch with our membership team, who will be able to take more one-on-one time to help you with your queries. So thank you, Ian, if you wanted to take us on to the next steps.
Thank you very much, Natasha. So just to sign off, have you got my screen back up, Natasha, please? Thank you very much. Oh yeah, fantastic. So in terms of what's going to happen after today's session, so if you are already a member of CMI, you'll already have access to everything that I've shown you today. But because we like to be helpful, we'll send you some links to the various platforms and services that I've been through, so you can get directly into them without having to do any searching. If you're not yet a member and you would like to get involved, you like what you've seen, you can go straight to our website, and because we're very kind and generous, we're offering a 10% discount for anybody that signs up to say thank you for joining us today, and you can use the promo code PV10. And again, we will send details on how you can do that to everybody that's registered for today. And if you've got any further questions specifically relating to any of the benefits or just membership in general, then there's an email address on the screen there, membership@managers.org.uk, where you'll come through to my fantastic membership team, who will be more than happy to help with any questions that you have.
Thank you, Ian. So thank you for everyone who's joined us today and participated. Thank you, Ian, for your insights and expertise on all things CMI. Do keep an eye out for the recording of this webinar, which will be emailed out to you later today. So if you've missed anything, you can rewatch it. And please don't hesitate to contact the membership team if you do have any more queries. Thank you and goodbye.